Okay, so I did not originally know I would be doing this. I did, of course, a lot of people know that I said I was going to uh, make a lot more videos in the future. I did have, I guess you would say, a setback. Um, and I know that a lot of people are not going to be expecting me to be making a video, especially not this one. But I was instructed to make this video. As a lot of you know, I'm very spiritual, and I do believe in doing what the Most High tells me to do. So the Most High wanted me to make this video. Actually, um, an ancestor, a great grandparent, came to me and said I need to make this video. Most High confirmed, said stop second guessing and doubting what the signs that I give you. And so here I am. Basically, I'm just going to get started. I know people don't expect me to go live. So I don't know if anybody's going to see this. And I guess eventually people will see it, but it doesn't matter who sees it right now. So I'm just going to get started. Basically, towards the beginning of this month, or I'm sorry, towards the beginning of December, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, tarot card readings started popping up on my Facebook live feed. And basically, hold on. Okay, I hope that makes it. All right, so anyway, basically, these tarot card readings started popping up on my Facebook Reels, basically. I said live feed, but it was my Reels, like when you're scrolling on Facebook and a video pops up, the Reels pop up. Tarot card readings started popping up, and so something said, all right, click it. So I clicked on a few of them, and there were different people doing the tarot card readings. I didn't know the people, but had never seen them before. I'm not really into tarot, however it's pronounced. But I clicked on it, and I clicked on a few of them, like I said, and every time I clicked on one, they were talking about stolen inheritance. And I was like, that's interesting. And they always said, this is for the collective, a collective reading. And so I'm listening, and I'm like, wow, this is sounding like way too familiar. It's sounding like sounding like they're telling me my life. And like I said, I'm not into tarot. I kind of took it with a grain of salt, but I was like, why did this all of a sudden start popping up? And don't click too many of these, because it's going to, basically override your algorithm, and then you're going to start seeing nothing but this, and nothing but, tarot card readings or whatever. So anyway, after I heard it quite a few times from the same people, I was like, well, they said it was for the collective, and they said, if it resonates, it's for you, or whatever. If it doesn't, then it's not for you, whatever. So it resonated. I'm like, wow, okay, this is crazy. And then what really stuck in my mind was that they said this is for the collective. So me being the type of person who, just is always thinking about other people and caring about other people, I'm thinking, oh my God, other people are going through this too. I'm like, this is crazy. So anyway, I just wanted to basically share, as I was instructed to share, and just speak out about what happened to me. And it's funny because the Most High told me to give somebody a message, and I did it. And it's funny because after giving that person that message and then seeing what I was supposed to do, I'm like, well, wow, you could kind of say that message was for me. It was, it was basically about standing up for yourself, but this is more like about more or less speaking out. So I guess I'll just get right to it. So, like I said, my great grandfather came to me. I had not, maybe I was close to him when I was a kid, but I haven't had any grandparents or great grandparents for a while, since I was like in my early 20s. But anyway, he basically came to me and he let me know that he had something to do with this stolen inheritance. he was like, I don't know if it was from him or something of his, I don't know, but he came to me and let me know that he wanted me to speak out because he had something to do with it. So basically, I guess I will go back a little bit to describe what happened to me, because I know that there are people out there who probably heard these same tarot card readings and probably, have a similar story. So basically, I'm just going to share a little bit of what happened. In 2023, I found out that my mother, well, actually, I got an inkling that she was ill in 2022. She was in St. Louis, and I live in North Carolina. She's in Missouri. She was in Missouri. So I basically got an inkling, but I went, she was basically letting me know she was trying to reassure me that she was fine, letting me know, oh, this is just this, oh, that's just that, oh, I've been seeing my doctor. So I was like, okay, I know she doesn't like people all up in her business, so I'm not gonna, really pry or get up in her business. So anyway, when I got a call, I stayed in touch with her, but when I got a call from my sister, she was letting me know that my mother was like worse off, or our mother was worse off than what she was letting on to me. So, and the weird thing was that it had been a couple months since I had talked to her. My sister called me in April, and I hadn't talked to my mom since February. And so I told her that I was going to, well, when I did talk to her, after I talked to my sister, when I talked to my mom, she basically let me know that she would like me to come. So I told her I was going to come down there as soon as I could. And I went down there. In May, and she still kept acting like everything was fine. That she was having a little bit of trouble getting around, but it wasn't that bad. I brought her down like a stereo. I brought her my stereo component set so that she would have music to listen to kind of keep her spirits up when she's just trying to piddle around the house or whatever. So she had me do some stuff while I was there, and then she was like, okay, I'm good, you don't have to, stay any longer. So I left. And basically, she went into the hospital about a month after I left. So I was like, okay, when my sister called me back and told me she was in the hospital, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to, try to get back down there. And then my mom called me again, and she was like, letting me know that she wished that I was there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my best. I'm trying to get down there as quick as I can. So basically, when I got down there the second time, I thought I was supposed to be coming like to help, my siblings, to help support and take care of our mother when I was going to stay at her house because she was supposed to be in the nursing home they said she was going to be in the nursing home for like 5 weeks. And so I was thinking, okay, that's 35 days. I'll stay at her house, keep an eye on everything, go visit her in the nursing home. And, that's what, I conveyed to everybody that I was going to do. Anyway, long story short, my mother, right before she got back home, I do want to just make known that when I came in May, nobody came. Like once I got there, like I saw my sister, I didn't see my brother, but then after I got there, nobody came back around, and I thought it was strange, but I was focused on my mom, so, and my daughter was with me, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to trip off of it. It's weird, but I'm not going to trip off of it. There was one thing that happened that was weird. I was on the phone with my half brother, and I was talking to him about a DVD player that I had lent my sister some years ago, and I was like, well, I guess I'm never getting that back. And then she actually, after I got off the phone with him, she called me and said she was on her way over, and she was like, and I got something for you. And I was like, what is it? She was like, I'll show you when you get there. It's a surprise. I'll show you when I get there. So I'm like, okay, that was weird. So she comes by, and lo and behold, she has this DVD player. And I was like, yeah, must be some must be some cameras in here or some type of recording device, because that was not, yeah, that was like not a coincidence. It was way too, uh, yeah, wait, this is not a coincidence. No, it wasn't a coincidence. I refuse to believe that something like that was a coincidence. Um, so anyway, so once once she did that, it raised my eyebrow, and like I thought about it for a while, and I was like, wow, I wonder if she's doing that because she's not here with my mom. Maybe she's wanting to keep an eye on her by camera since she's not there. But at any rate, it was still strange to me because I knew that was not anything my mother would have wanted if that was what was happening. I knew my mother wouldn't have wanted to be recorded, without her knowledge. So anyway, moving back to when I came the second time. Now the second time, it was July. It was the beginning of July, and like I said, my mom was in the nursing home when I first got there, and she had already gotten out of the hospital, and she was actually in the nursing home, supposed to stay, like I said, for 35 days. So anyway, I remember while I'm at her house and I'm going to visit her every day, and if she needed something, or if my sister told me she needed something, I was taking it to her or whatever, food, or just whatever she might have needed. So while I'm staying at her house, one day my brother calls me, and it's like really out of the blue, and I'm just like, wow, because I had not okay, most people don't really know my dynamic with my family, but I hadn't talked to my brother since like 2018, and now it's 2023. So him calling me after like basically not talking to me for so long, it was strange. Of course, I still have the same phone number and everything, so I wasn't, I guess, too shocked. I didn't block him or anything, so it wasn't a shock to me that he called. But I mean, it was a shock that he called, but it wasn't a shock that he was able to get through, because like, I didn't close the lines of communication at all, because I never understood why he didn't want to talk to me anyway. So anyway, that's a sidebar. But anyway, he called me and he's like, Nita, mama's tumor is the size of a golf ball. It's over. It's over. And I'm like, whoa, yo, it's not over. It's not over. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to basically reject all that energy, and I'm not going to talk to you about that. So anyway, basically, I thought that was weird, and that's why I'm bringing it up now. I thought a lot about it at the time. It really weighed on my mind a lot, because I'm like, okay, what is going on here? So, and again, nobody's coming to the house. I'm there. Nobody's coming to the house. So it's like, clearly they don't want to see me, because I'm here with my daughter at this house. It's their niece, and nobody's coming to this house. So my mom gets out of the nursing home, and one of the first things that she did when she got home, she was using her walker when she first got home, and I was helping her, by like bringing her oxygen tank behind her or whatever, bringing her oxygen, the line, I was making sure she had enough line to walk around, and just carrying it behind her. And so one of the first things that she did when she got home was she went and she checked her drawers. She had put some boxes, some lock boxes in her drawers. And I was aware, I was aware that she had the lock boxes. I just was not aware that they were in her room with her. But it stands to reason that when you get older, you want your belongings close to you. So it makes sense that they were there. And what alerted me to the fact that that's what she was looking for was, after she looked in her drawers and she did not find the lock boxes, she turned and she said to me, something has been taken from me, and it's a lot. So I was surprised, because I know my mom, and I knew she was talking about money. And so I'm looking at her. I know my mom's a very private person, so I'm struggling with myself, because part of me wants to say, well, Mom, what was it? And then part of me is like, she's not going to tell you. Don't, whatever it is, she just told you it was a lot. So she's not really, in a position where she wants to trust anybody right now, because she just told you it was a lot. So I'm like, okay, I didn't press the issue, and I was concerned, but I didn't press the issue. And after she looked for that, The boxes that were in her drawers. I saw all the drawers that she opened. She opened like 4 different drawers. She closed them back, and then that's when she said that, whatever had been taken. Um, so she, after that, she spent a lot of time kind of just brooding. Like, she was kind of just brooding. She was like really like upset. Like, she was like, and when I say upset, it's like, I was there to, I thought it was about to be we were there to take care of her, but like I said, nobody was coming over, and I'm just like, this is really weird. And so, it got to be more like an I'm taking care of her, but then it's like, she was upset all the time. My aunt, her sister, it came up after she, the day after she got out of the nursing home to come visit her and check on her, and she really like was not happy about it. Like, it was like whatever she was missing when she looked in those drawers, she didn't want anybody around her after that. She barely wanted me and my daughter around. Like, she knew we were there to help, and she did ask us to come, but she was very upset. And like I said, I really didn't, understand why, because I didn't know what was in there, what she had looked for or whatever. And so then when my aunt came up, like I said, she was in a very, very, very bad mood. She was just, I said, there was a point when I said, okay, now that I didn't know Aunt Bird was coming, but now she's here, I can go pick up your prescription, so I'll be right back. My aunt called me maybe, I don't know, it was very quick. It was like maybe about 10, 15 minutes later, and she was like, Nita, where are you? Where are you? Your mother is frantic. And my mother was in the background, Nita, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And I'm like, oh man, what is going on? She was like, I don't know. She's hysterical. So I was like, well, look, I'm getting a prescription. I will be back as soon as I possibly can. So I just, I grabbed a prescription. It wasn't like ready when I got there, so I had to wait on a minute. And I got back as soon as I could. And my mother was like, why did you leave me so long? And I was just like, well, I thought you were okay, since your sister was here. And so, it was just like, but no, she wasn't okay. And she just was like brooding. And so basically, I was like, okay, well, I better not leave her, again, because she doesn't seem to want anybody else around her. And then there was a situation where I got her ready for bed one night, and my sister and brother, they came over, and it was like right after I got her into the bed, right after she fell asleep, they came knocking on the glass, and she like was startled out of her sleep, and she started yelling my name. And so I came back in the room. I ran back in the room, and I was like, what's going on? And I heard the knocking at the door. She was like, somebody's at the door. And so it was my brother and sister. And so I opened the door, and they came in, and they were acting so strange. They were like, hi, Mom, did we wake you? Oh, we're sorry. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? And, they had her stuff, because apparently, okay, when she came from the nursing home, I don't want to get too deep into like little sidebars or whatever, but when she came from the nursing home, there was this weird like power outage type situation, where I was there. I had taken my mom to get something to eat, taken my daughter to get something to eat as well. We got back, and we got back right before it started to storm. And as soon as it started to storm, the lights immediately went out. And my sister was like, Mama, we gotta go. We gotta go. You can't stay here. You don't have enough oxygen to stay here. And so I was like, okay, that's probably true. But I noticed that she was getting all of the equipment. She wasn't just getting oxygen tanks. She was getting the whole oxygen machine. She was getting the bedside commode, just basically all of the equipment except for the hospice bed. Oh, and the hospice situation is another story, but it's not really related to the For the Collective inheritance story that I'm telling. But anyway, so what nobody knew was that once my sister invited my daughter and I, and myself to come over there to her house because of this power outage. And so we went over there, and she was like, after she got my mom situated, she took us in the basement of her house, and she said there was a bed down there, and I remember seeing some workout equipment and some other stuff. She was like, you all can sleep in this bed. And I was like, okay. I wasn't really super comfortable. I was like, we'll be okay going back to mama's house, to be honest with you. I wasn't comfortable staying there. I don't know. It was just a feeling I got. I wasn't comfortable. I think the feeling happened when I went back to the room where she had gotten my mother situated. And I noticed that there was a whole nother hospice bed back there. I know hospice doesn't set up like multiple locations for hospice patients. So that's what really raised my eyebrow. I'm like, why is there another bed here? Why is there like stuff here that's at my mother's house right now? So that raised my eyebrow. So basically, after I saw that, like I said, the one thing that nobody knew that I did, when I first got to my sister's house, I went on the Ameren website, and it said that the power was on at my mother's house. So I was just like, that is the weirdest, shortest power outage I have ever heard of in my life. Like my sister literally stayed like less than 10 minutes away from my mother. So it's like somehow there was a storm, the power got knocked out, in less than 10 minutes, the power was back on. So I brought it to my sister's attention, but she told me that, she was just going to have our mother, stay, overnight and just bring her back in the morning. So I'm like, okay. Okay. So at any rate, moving right along, getting to the tarot card reading, I want to fast forward because basically, like I said, my mother brooded over whatever was missing. She got to a point where when she got back to her house, and my aunt came to visit, she cursed my aunt out. She even lumped me into it. She called me a curse word, and I'm like, man, she is really mad. And after that, she did not want to be away from her bedroom. So I'm like, okay, what is going on? What is upsetting her this much? What is missing? So at any rate, my siblings continue to come over and act very strange. At one point, they came over, and it was July 28th, 2023. I had now been there for 22 days. It was 3 weeks, basically. And they came over, and they said that I lost my mother's keys. And I was like, no, you didn't give me her keys. And my sister kept saying, yes, I did. Yes, I did. And my brother was like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I'm like, okay, what is this freaking frack Heckle and Jekyll dynamic? Why are they all of a sudden acting like and moving like a unit like this? It was so weird. And my mother had told me, she did say, I don't trust them. They keep, going and putting their heads together and whispering amongst themselves. And they come to my hospital, when she was in the hospital and in the nursing home, she's like, they come up here for like maybe 10 minutes, 10 or 20 minutes, and then they leave. And then they stand outside talking right outside my window where I can see them for like hours. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? So anyway, on this day, July 28th, 2023, they're standing there telling me that they gave me some keys. And I'm like, no, you guys didn't. You came and sat some boxes down, and her keys weren't in them. And I don't know if you remember, you gave her wallet, and she said all her stuff was not in there. And you said, yes, it is, Mom. Yes, it is. So basically, my mother was, she was just sitting there listening to all of this. And, I was just like, you guys didn't give me any keys. So my sister starts going into my mom's room. She goes back there. She gets some keys, and they're on a white, like vinyl, not vinyl, nylon cord, kind of like that you wrap twine, kind of like that twine, that nylon twine that you, wrap stuff up, secure stuff with, like if you're going to be moving some furniture or whatever, like, He used to secure with that white nylon twine or whatever. And so the keys were on this white nylon twine. And I'm looking at the keys, and the keys are familiar to me because they go to pretty much all of my mom's property. And my mom, my sister's like, Mom, are these your keys? Are these your keys? And my mom's like, those are not my keys. So she was like, oh. And so she didn't notice me noticing her not put them back. So I'm like, okay, why is she not putting them back? So then she goes and gets another set of keys out of my mother's room, and she says, well, what about these? Are these your keys? Are these your? And she's like, those are not my keys. So she didn't put those back either. And I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here. She's about to try to just take all of these keys. So then she focuses her attention on me, and she says, I think you should have Nita, that's me, of course, give me her house key, because if something happens to you, there's not going to be a key for anybody to come and check on you in an emergency. And so I'm like, she was like, if she loses her key, and I'm like, I'm a grown woman. Of course, I'm not going to lose a key. I got a whole house that I haven't lost keys to. Why would I lose a key to this house? A key that, is with me every day. But long story short, they said, my mother said, just go ahead and give her the key. So I gave her the key, and she said, we're going to make some copies. We're going to make a copy of this key, and we'll be right back. Now, I said some copies, but she said a copy. We're going to go copy this key, and we'll be right back. Well, they were gone for over an hour, and I was like, yeah, Mama, I told you it was a bad idea. They didn't just take that one key. They're not just copying that one key. And she was like, yeah, they've been going too long. Call her. Call your sister. So I called her for my mother, and she's like, they couldn't do it at the first place we went, so we're at another place now. We'll be back as soon as they get it done. So my mother's like, just hurry up. So anyway, they come back, and the first thing they do, my brother begins to get in my face. He starts saying, every time I come here, you're always in the room. You need to go to another room when I come to this MFing house. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm the caregiver. Because clearly you all are only coming to, I don't know, get our mother worked up. I mean, I don't understand why I'm the only one here and you all are not coming here every day. So it was bewildering me, but I told him I'm not going anywhere. I'm the caregiver, and he's just like, well, you need to get out of this effing room and da. He's doing all this yelling and everything. And while he's doing it, he's smiling. Like, he's literally like, you need to get out of this room. And he's smiling. He's got a smile on his face the entire time. So I'm like, okay, this is extremely weird. And so I finally said, my mother had told me that she didn't want them there because they never came to help. They would come over and go in another room and just talk amongst themselves. So I said that day, well, Mama, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to have to go ahead and tell them what you said. And my brother's like, well, what did she say? What did she say? I said, she says she doesn't want you all here because you don't help. You just come over and you go in another room and talk amongst yourselves, and then you leave. And so he's like, did you say that, Mama? Did you say that? And so then she said, yes. She raised up in her bed and she said, yes, I said it. And I definitely don't want you here. And so then he gets mad and he starts cussing at her, well, F you because I've been helping you, and F you because this, and F you because that. So I'm like, okay, they stole the keys. And now I don't know if this is just some type of affront to get her mind off of the keys that they just stole and copied. But now they've gotten her worked up. And, then they start doing this little show where, my brother's acting like he can't be restrained. And so my sister is like acting like she has to pull him out of the house. Mind you, she's like probably about 6 inches shorter than him. She's the small one. And she's, this is like, it's all like, it's like this show. It's like a show. And so I'm like, something's going on. And so that day ends. My mother says, call the police. So I call the police, and, the police come, but, they don't take a report. They give her, the officer gives her his name and number, but they don't take a report. So I'm trying to get off of this because this is like the thing. I need to fast forward a lot because, my mother did pass away during that while I was there, taking care of her. She did pass away from lung cancer. It turned out it was lung cancer. She did pass away, and again, my siblings were not there. There was a day when they came over. It was the 4th of August after the incident that happened with the keys. They came over and they had called the police and they said that they were doing a welfare check. And I thought it was odd, and the officer was banging on the door. And at the time, I was changing my mother. And so I'm like, well, hold on, and they're like, if you don't open this door, we're going to break it down, da, da, da. I'm like, okay, this is weird. And so I called my daughter. I'm like, can you open the door for them? And so I got my mother situated, and they come in. And I let them know, hey, I was in the middle of changing her. What is this about? They say it's a wellness check. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, everything is fine. And my siblings are standing out there with them. And so I'm like, well, no, everything is fine. I don't understand why it wouldn't be. And they said my siblings were concerned. And so they were the ones that did this check. My sister comes in and, my mother was basically expressing that she didn't want them there. And I told the officer, I was like, well, we just called the police the other day because my mother didn't want them here. And so, I gave her the officer's card that he gave my mother, and she had another officer go run it. So everything, she came back and she was like, well, okay, we do see that the police were here and da da da. And so while this officer is talking, my sister says, well, I'm recording everything in here. And I was like, what? Why? Why are you doing that? And why would you say that? And so I'm like, I said to the officer, did you hear that? I said, I felt that was happening. So I have been looking around, for a device, but I haven't been able to find anything. And she was like, oh, well, you haven't found anything? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, could you all look? And so she's like, well, we don't really do that, but you can let us know, if you do actually find something. And I was like, this is so weird. This whole situation is sounding really weird. So, after everything is over, the officer says, well, we're going to go. And, this sounds like a family situation. You guys are just going to have to work this out with the social worker. And so she leaves. And so basically, my mother had basically, they had to tell them that they had to leave too, because my mother had basically expressed back on the 28th to the officer that she didn't want them there. So, they came around another time, and, once again, the police had to tell them that they weren't supposed to be there. But, when, after my mother, passed away, which the day that she became unresponsive, I did, call the police and ask them if they could contact my siblings and escort them over. And they said that they could, but then they called my brother and he said he did not want to come. So then, well, he changed his mind, and about 15 minutes later, he said he did want to come. And so then they came over, and she was unresponsive, and they started to try to blame me. And I'm like, well, you guys are the ones that put her on hospice. The hospice nurse is the one that's been, providing her medical care, so you'll have to ask the hospice nurse, if you can't, I'm not going to deal with this, but you'll have to take that up with hospice. So at any rate, moving forward, my mom, the hospice nurse that visited that day, after she gave her medication, 5 hours later, my mom passed away. And so after this, I started getting ready, to lay my mom to rest. And, my good friend of my mother's, she asked if she could help, and I was like, yes, and she was like, well, what about your siblings? Are they going to help? And I was like, I don't know. I haven't talked to them. Apparently they're not too fond of me because, I was helping my mom and, they weren't coming around, and I don't know what the deal is, but there's been a whole lot going on. So she said she would talk to them and, see if we could come to some type of agreement to lay our mother to rest. But she went to talk to them, and she came back and she told me, well, they said they don't want to be involved. And they also said they're not coming to the funeral and they're not going to help pay for the funeral. And so at that point, my mind said, they said they're not going to help pay for the funeral. I knew that my brother was unemployed. So I was just like, how could you help pay for the funeral? Even if you wanted to, like, how were you going to help? Because I got to scrape and scrounge, to come up with the money. But you're literally saying, I'm not going to help, which means you can help some kind of way, but you're just not. So anyway, everything happened. And, I kept thinking about these drawers that my mother opened. And when I was looking for documents like life insurance policies and things like that to help, bury her, I found some keys. And the keys, they look familiar. My mother used to work at U.S. Bank, and I knew she had the file cabinet, and, I knew that one of the keys went to that, but these other keys went to, basically, they were strongbox keys, the little small keys. And I was just like, okay, there's 3 of them. And my mother looked in 4 drawers, and I found these keys in the 4th drawer. So I knew that the first 3 drawers where her clothes must have been where she had put the boxes that she said were missing. And so I'm like, And a lot of people, not a lot of people really understand intuition, I'm not gonna, well, like I do. I'll just put it that way. A lot of people brush off their intuition, they don't really listen to their intuition, but I do. Because your intuition is like they used to tell you when you take a test, go with your first mind. Your intuition, your first mind, when you get a gut feeling about something, it's usually the correct feeling. You're getting that for a reason. And so I knew I was getting this feeling for a reason. I knew that after what my mother had said, I was definitely on the right track. And so I was like, okay, we're going to, we're going to make sure we let people know and see if anybody knew, about these, boxes. And so I did tell people, and nobody knew what I was talking about. I told them about the keys I found, and I told them I believe that these went to these 3 boxes. And so nobody knew what I was talking about, but after I, had gotten up the money to pay for my mother's funeral, which, by the way, my sister and brother, they went up to the funeral home while, after I had my mom's body transported there. They went to the funeral home and they confronted the funeral director, and they said, did our sister bring some life insurance policies up here? And he was like, no, I haven't even met your sister. And our mother, don't embalm our mother. She wanted to be cremated. I had never heard anything like this, because my mother told me that she wanted to be buried. And she said, she told me where she didn't want to be buried. So I knew not to bury her there. So I knew that I was going to bury her, but just not out of the state as she previously wanted, but she changed her mind. So anyway, fast forward, and I bury my mother. I lay my mother to rest the best I could, with everything that was going on. There was a lot of contention going on, and I laid her to rest, and then I returned. I had to bring my daughter back to North Carolina. So we returned to North Carolina, and I was at home, just trying to, get settled back in at home and shake off everything that had happened. And I got a call from 2 of my cousins, and they kept saying they were like mocking me or taunting me. And they kept, they were acting like they were calling to see how I was doing. They were like, well, we're just calling to give you condolences again on your mother. And I was like, yes, same to you, because my aunt passed away. Their mother passed away just 1 month before my mother did. It was all very odd, to say the least. But they were giving condolences, and I'm like, well, thanks. And I thought it was weird because they had already done this. We had already been through this, and it felt like they were just looking for a reason to call me. And then I started to notice that at the end of everything that they would say big face. They kept saying, they would say, well, we just wanted to give our condolences, big face. And then they would laugh together, and everything that they said, at the end of it, they kept saying big face. And so I'm like, okay, they're trying to let me know that they know about the money that was in the strong boxes that were taken. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going along with it. And then at the end of the call, they start singing this big face, honey, it's hey. And I'm like, wow, this is really going far. So I'm like, okay, I don't think they understand, first of all, how intuitive I am, and second of all, how intelligent I am. I mean, let's be for real. But I'm listening to this and I'm just like, this is blowing my mind, because it's like, really? So you're basically letting me know everybody that knows something is just like calling me and letting me know, or in some way is letting me know that they know. And so after that call, I looked at the keys again, and I'm just like, okay, something definitely, my mother, one thing I knew was that she did not play about money, and something was definitely taken from her, as she had said. Now my cousins were letting me know that something was taken from her. So, without actually letting me know. And I noticed a lot of odd things that happened before I came back to North Carolina. Like when I was trying to prepare for the funeral, I was still staying at my mother's house, trying to make the arrangements, trying to find, her documents and things. And while I was doing so, my siblings were calling the utility companies to get the utility shut off, even though they knew I was still there. And just the way it's okay. So as I said, I'm very spiritual. I'm very in tune with the Most High. Pretty much everybody that, knows me knows this. And I remember two times before I came to St. Louis, a voice said to me, I will fight for you. And I'm like, what's going on? Why do I need to be fought for? I mean, I'm chilling with what's going on, So I'm like, my ears perked up, and I'm like, okay, I got to keep my eyes open for something that I'm going to need, to be fought for, And so at any rate, I get there and all this stuff is happening, and it's like, it's almost like every time something happens, it's almost like I'm ready for it. Like I know that something is about to happen. Like when the gas truck, it was Aspire is the name of the gas company in Missouri now. When I was there, it was Lee, but I haven't been there in a long time. But so a Spire truck pulled up, and I happened to be outside, and the guy that worked for Spire, he gets out of the truck, and I'm out there with my cousin. And she knows the guy. And she was like, so-and-so, what's up? And she starts talking to him. And, she was like, what are you doing here? Da, da, da. And he was like, well, wait a minute. And he like beeline straight for me. And he was like, do you live here? And I was like, no, I don't. My mother lived here. I'm making her funeral arrangements. She just passed away. He said, oh, do you want the gas cut off here? I was like, no, I don't. I'm trying to make the arrangements for the funeral. He's like, oh, okay. I was just checking because, I got a call saying that, I got a call from some people saying that, the gas needs to be cut off at this address. And my cousin looked at me and she said, your sister. So I just, kind of brushed it off. I'm like, well, as long as he's not going to turn the gas off, I'm cool. I mean, not that we really needed, we needed hot water, but, so, I mean, just to, get the house, well, you need gas for certain stuff. So the pipes won't freeze after you leave, for hot water. So you can take a shower while you're there, wash the dishes that you still need to wash or whatever, stuff like that. So anyway, And then after he left, the next day, woke up, still, making the arrangements, looking for documents and stuff, and woke up, and shortly after my daughter and I woke up, the electricity went off, and we're like, that's odd. Is there a power outage? Did it get too hot? Because it was very hot in St. Louis in 2023. Now, so basically, called the electric company, and they were like, yeah, a gentleman just called and said that the electric needed to be turned off at this address. And I was like, well, I need it back on because I'm here, making my mom's funeral arrangements. So I kind of need it back on until I get everything done and then, go back home. So I actually had to get it turned on in my name, which, we needed it back on. So I did it. So then my aunt, the one that came up the first time, she came up again to help with the funeral arrangements and to, of course, attend the funeral of her sister. And while she was there, she went and met with my brother. She said she wanted to find out what was going on, why they were being so secretive and everything. And so she went and met with him. And she came back and told me that he asked her, is the electricity or the lights on over there? And she was like, yeah, the lights on. Why? And he said, well, because I called and had them cut off. And I'm just like, I'm not surprised. I was like, is there anything that you found out that I might not know about? Because I know all of this. So anyway, long story short, now that I'm back home, I'm really trying to just, grieve my mother, move on from this. But I keep getting calls about this mystery situation. I hired a probate attorney because I wanted to keep my mother's house in the family. And after I hired this probate attorney, my siblings hired an attorney themselves, but they hired a criminal defense attorney. And my attorney thought it was weird. I thought it was weird, but I guess he said, well, I'm an attorney, so I'm just going to do this so I can make the money. I don't know, because he registered them on the probate case as defendants. And I was just like, this is so weird. So, I asked my attorney about it, and he's like, well, he must not handle probate cases, and he must not know how it goes, and maybe that's why he accidentally registered them that way. But at any rate, he did look, I guess he looked at the paperwork that my attorney filed to appoint me as the representative of the estate to keep the house. And he filed some identical paperwork, and in his paperwork, he basically was saying that they were contesting me being the administrator of the estate, and they lodged all of these allegations against me, and I was just like, wow, all I wanted to do was keep the house in the family. I was like, if they're gonna do this, then forget it. I want out. So anyway, it turned into this big mess, and I don't know what they told, everybody that knows me, they know I love my nieces and nephews. They know that I love my family. I've always been there for my family, and, yes, we've had little falling outs here and there, but normally we came back together. This particular time, we didn't come back together, and I feel like it might have had something to do with the fact that I moved to North Carolina, for my job, but we didn't come back together. Me trying to, get things back together didn't work. And so we didn't come back together. And so now it was like my siblings were against me, and they were trying to turn everybody else against me. And I was just like, wow, I thought that all of my nieces and nephews knew, how much I loved them and my family. So it was really shocking to me that people were believing this stuff, and they were like, getting on board with it. They actually recruited, our deceased sister's kids, to go against me. And I was just like, wow, that was amazing to me. Because like I said, my nieces and nephews, they know that I love them. They know that even if I only, now that they're adults and everything, even if I only see them every now and then, they know it's all love. They know when I'm coming, in love. They know I'm, coming to, check on them, make sure they're doing well, and just whatever I can do for them, I'm gonna do, And so, and they know I'm happy to hear from them all the time and stuff like that. So it was just weird to me that the way that this was going, but. So basically, I just was like, you know what? I'm done with this, So I just had to move on, and I got stuff to do. A lot of people might not know this about me, but once again, being that I'm very in tune with the Most High, I've known for the past 5 years that I have a mission I have a mission and a purpose that I have to fulfill, and I don't have time to mess around with things that are trying to basically interrupt that mission or thwart that mission, because I definitely saw that this is what this was. People say that it's not the person, it's the spirit that's operating in the person, and that is very true. So when I saw what spirit was operating in these people, I had to get away from these people because there's work to be done and I have to do it. And I know that basically, I don't know if all the people in this group, I know that there are several people in this group that are compromised spiritually. So I had to get myself out of the situation. Now, when it comes to the collective reading, going back, we're going to go back right now. We're going to, pivot back to what I was saying about the tarot card readings that all of a sudden started popping up on my my news feed on Facebook. I'm like, wow, I'm not into tarot cards, like I said. So how did these all of a sudden start popping up? So once again, very spiritual. I'm like, message. This is a message. So that's why I started listening, and everybody kept talking about stolen inheritance. And one thing that I couldn't shake from my mind with my siblings was, why did they go so hard? They got the utilities turned off. They called social services on me and tried to say that I wasn't educating my child. And I homeschool my daughter. They're like, she's not homeschooling her child for real. I had to show my paperwork. They're going against me like super hard. And I'm like, wow, why are they going so hard? There must be something more at stake than what I'm thinking, because they're going way too hard. It's like they're trying to get me like caught up. So when I saw, I had been thinking about this for a while. It's been in the back of my mind for a very long time. And when I saw the tarot card readings and they kept talking about stolen inheritance, I thought back to my father saying, I was like, my mother kept saying when she was alive, she kept saying about my siblings, they want what I got. And my father, when I told him that they said that, he said, well, what did she have? I was like, Dad, I don't know. Our mother was very secretive. You know that. And so I was like, I don't know what she had, but she said it was a lot. So that's all I know. And so when the tarot card readings popped up and I'm getting, and they keep saying stolen inheritance, I'm like, okay, there was some sort, I know that there was money in there because I watched my siblings, start buying stuff, by the end of 2023, they were already buying stuff. And like I said, for an unemployed person to buy a $50,000, brand new 2023 minivan, I knew that something was amiss. So basically, once I saw the tarot card readings, I'm like, okay, this solidifies that, there was an inheritance that they knew was mine, and they were trying to basically do the most detrimental things possible to keep me from finding out about it or even, inheriting it, And so basically, like I said, when everybody, they kept saying on these readings, this is for the collective. And then I would look at the comments and people were like, yes, my so-and-so, they stole my inheritance. And I'm like, wow, this is mind blowing. So again, like I said, I'm making this video for anybody, for all of the collective who has had something like this happen to them. I want you to know that the Most High is well aware. And like I said, it was a great grandfather that came to me. Like I literally had not been around. Uh, well, I only knew one of my great grandfathers, and I hadn't been around him since I was a child. And he was the one that came to me and told me to do this, to make this video. And like I said, the Most High confirmed, like, I'm praying about him, like, is this really what I'm supposed to do? And Most High is like, stop second guessing, stop doubting. Yes, it's what you're supposed to do. So that's why I'm on here now. But so it's like what I want to make known is that anybody that's doing this, I don't care if anybody that's watching me now, you have a family member that, like if you had an inheritance stolen, you have a family member that had one stolen, family member that stole one. None of this is escaping the eyes of the Most High. I want to let you know that right now. And everything, we've already, we all know that 2024, a lot of stuff was exposed, and 2025, a lot of stuff is going to be made right. So, all I can say is just keep watching, because what is about to happen is everybody that was wronged, by everybody that was operating out of this foul spirit, is about to be vindicated. You're about to see, like I said, things that were taken from you. You're about to see, things return to you that were taken from you. You're about to see vindication for things that were taken from you. Like, even if it's not the very thing that was taken, you will be even happier than you would have been with that thing. It's like, this is it, I guess, like I said, I stopped worrying about it a long time ago. I moved on. But it's going to be what it's going to be, I know, I actually have had my own sister. She said to me on quite a few occasions, she just kept saying, well, I would tell her something and she'd be like, well, it seems like the stuff that you're into is kind of demonic. She was always saying demonic. And I'm like, okay, is she trying to say that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not who I am, like, I'm just like, is she trying to say that I'm not a righteous person? Like, I'm not a holy person, which I am, I mean, do you understand? You know what I'm saying? You don't even know, the path I'm on, most people, couldn't even imagine walking this path, so I'm just like, wow, and so I know that there are people who think that because a person, is spiritual or is in tune with the Most High, those people might think, oh my God, she's into some magic, she's into some witchcraft. Literally, when I saw the tarot card readings, I was just like, why is this popping up? I'm not even into this stuff. I don't even look into this stuff, because of course we know that is considered divination. Now, I live and let live, everybody knows that about me. I live and let live. Now, I'm going to give you, some knowledge, if I'm supposed to give you some knowledge, I'm going to give you some knowledge. But other than that, I live and let live, we, basically we're all here, for a purpose, and I'm not going to interfere with anybody else's purpose. Don't want to have anyone interfere with mine either. But, the thing that I must make known, and this is like for the collective, is that, all of those tarot card readings that I saw, it was not in vain. It was a message for me. And yes, it was a message for anyone who has been through something like this. I don't know. I mind my business for the most part, so I don't know what's been going on, in St. Louis for real. But I do know that any wickedness, it's going, like, everybody that is involved in things like this, karma is real. And as I told people before, karma never misses. And, we're about to see, and if we haven't already seen, even the people that are watching me right now, if you haven't already seen judgment happen to people, you're about to see it happen. You might have loved ones and you're like, oh my God, this person passed away too soon or something like that. Sometimes it's what they did. I'm just being totally honest with you. Sometimes it's what they did, what they were involving themselves in. And, I hate to say that, but I've been on a mission to try to tell people, like, for the past 5 years, to repent, to trust that the Most High's will is perfect in your life. Just be patient. Yes, everybody is, I'm not going to say everybody, but yes, people all over are, hurting financially because of the things that have been going on in this society. But, just be patient, change is inevitable. Nothing lasts forever. And, as I try to tell people these types of things, some of it fell on deaf ears, with certain people. And, that's okay. If they wanted to go out and, do something strange or do something illegal or immoral, for money, then they're going to have to answer for that. It's just that simple. I myself, I'm not going to compromise. I'm going to, stay the course, because like I said, I know I have a purpose here. But I just want, people to know that, yes, apparently this is happening on this whole stolen inheritance thing is happening on a way broader scale than I knew about. Now, I have heard about people who passed away. I even had a situation where, okay, one of the things that happened to me was the strangest thing. I did a mail forwarding order when I was in St. Louis helping my mom. When I realized that, okay, now I'm going to be taking care of my mom, I did a mail forwarding order. And when I went, after she passed, I went to cancel that mail forwarding order. And it apparently didn't go through. Like they gave me a confirmation and everything. It said it went through, but I'm back at home. I'm not getting any mail. So I called the post office and they're like, oh, there was some type of mix up and your mail is still going to that address. So lo and behold, my siblings who have been doing all these things against me now have access to my mail. They're, now, going to the house and confiscating my mail. And I know this because when I came to St. Louis in December of 2023, because they decided to, and this is going to be crazy. My siblings, my sister filed a restraining order against me. Now, I don't know how you can convince a judge that somebody that lives 900 miles away from you is a threat to you. But I basically, when I went there, I went there because I tried to file a continuance motion and it did not get filed and posted in time. So I had to go to St. Louis. So I went there and I was just like, you know what? I don't plan on dealing with these people anymore. I just signed a consent order. The judge was like, well, rather than go through all these hearings and stuff, if, you could just file a consent order. It's not saying that you did it. It's just saying that, you won't go around the person. I'm like, well, I say 900 miles away, so I'll just sign the consent. So I signed the consent. And while I was there, I'm like, well, let me go to this house and get my mail. And so I go, the police officer, I called them and told them that I need to go get the mail. They said, go over there, call us when you get there. And, we'll make sure that an officer comes to, for keep the peace, da, da, da. Well, I go there and I do everything they told me to do. And the officer has my brother, because they had changed the locks on the door. My officer had asked my brother, do you have the key? My brother said, yes, I do. He was like, well, go ahead and open the door so she can get her mail. So he opens the door and he lets him go in. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I'm like, okay, it's supposed to be a keep the peace, but you're letting the person who is, got beef with me come in the house. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just here for my mail. So I went in, I'm looking for my mail in the living room, and they had basically, they did, had done some stuff there. So the setup had changed. And I'm like, well, I don't see, all I see here is my mother's mail. So I'm going to go look in the kitchen. And my brother goes, oh no, you're not looking anywhere else in this effing house. You're not going anywhere else in this effing house. I'm like looking at the officer. I'm like, yo, I need my mail. They got access to my personal information. And so he's like, well, if your mail is not right there, then we're done. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Is this what a keep the peace is? And just for the record, I just want to make known that this officer's name was Officer Steiger with the Jennings Police Department. And I really hope that he no longer works there, because that was the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen done. And then I want to say this too. Sergeant Dooley, you never did the investigation of my complaint that you were supposed to do. I just got to say that, because that was wrong too. You probably wrote it up in the paperwork and made your superiors think that you did that investigation, but you never did it. You never called me back. So anyone watching this from the Jennings Police Department or the St. Louis County Police Department, Sergeant Dooley never did the investigation of my complaint, and Officer Steiger basically mishandled the whole keep the peace in December of 2023. So now that I got that out of the way, I just wanted to say that these people now had access to my personal information, because when I canceled my forwarding order, my banking information was still going to that house. When they mishandled the cancellation, my banking information was still going to that house. My insurance information, all of my mail that would have come to my address was being forwarded to my mother's house, and they were intercepting it. They even admitted, when they tried to file a claim against the estate recently, my siblings even admitted that they were going to that house retrieving mail. Now, if a person is deceased, what mail are you retrieving? So anyway, with that being said, I don't want to make this live any longer than it has to be. I've said a lot, but basically the thing that I want to make known is nothing will be hidden any longer. Everything hidden, just as it says in the Bible, everything hidden will be revealed. Like I said, the Most High saw everything. He saw it all. He knows everyone involved. And so, nope, I'm not a witch, in case that's what you think. No, I don't practice any dark magic, but the Most High fights for me. So I just wanted to say that. I know I got some lurkers. I know I got some stalkers. I know I got people that make fake accounts and somehow follow me, even though I don't even have a big following on social media. But they do follow me. They do watch me, and I know this. So hopefully they're watching this. I know I got people that will go back and tell people about this. So yeah, please do. I want you to do that, because I want you all to know that nothing is escaping the eyes of the Most High. So that's really all I want to say. And I want to thank, the people who are watching this. The weird thing is it doesn't, say on the top of the screen like how many people are watching. But, I see that there are people in the comment section or whatever. So I want to thank you all for watching this. I don't know if the transmission is totally successful, because it keeps popping up this slow connection thing on the screen. But I just wanted to, make known that yes, a sign was given to me, and like I said, a great grandparent was urging me to make this video. And like I said, I really only had one. Hey, hey Tony, how you doing? I haven't seen you in ages. I want to see you again soon. But I just wanted to let you all know that nothing escapes the eyes of the Most High, and I'm doing this because I really am, I'm trying to get better, when the Most High tells me to do something, to do it. I'm trying to, get better at, just going ahead and responding to, to the nudgings and the signs that I get. But I just want people to know that, whatever has happened, if it involves me, I can tell you right now, if it involves me, whatever you did and whatever you're facing, it's because of what you did. So I just want to let you know that. I just want to let you know that it's because of what you did. There's nothing else. It's like, oh, I got bad luck. Oh, somebody didn't spell. No, it's because the Most High is watching everything that you do. And every tear that His chosen cry, He will avenge. And so everything that you put me through, everything that you put my child through, everything that you put us through while we were not there, every bit of magic, you called in people that I knew, that I no longer deal with. And you think that I don't know. I intuition. I'm somebody who a lot of people, you might think I'm a witch because of who I am. But it's like I said recently, it's impossible for you to think that you know somebody when you don't even fully know yourself. But when you put that work in to get to know yourself, then that's where the magic happens. So I'm just letting anybody know, any lurkers and whatnot, I'm just letting you all know, anything that has happened to you, I didn't do it. But the army that's behind me, that's who did it. So, I know that I know that the Most High watches me. I know who has my back. And so, that's all I can say about it. Just, be careful. Even if you're watching this and you need this message, be careful of what you do, because you might think that nobody's watching, but the Most High is always watching. So I just wanted to, I hope that I have, made my great grandfather proud. I hope I have, satisfied. I'm sure that I have said what the Most High wanted me to say, because I, of course, asked him to give me the words to say before I came on here and made this video. So that's all that I wanted to say. And, I may this go out to everybody that's supposed to hear it. May everyone that has ever been in such a situation be vindicated. May the will of the Most High be done. And I want to thank you all for watching this. And, I pray for your protection and your peace. And I pray that you all, get, go even deeper in your understandings of yourselves. That's just for everyone. And, of course, encourage others to do the same, because we're in a time where it's necessary. You've probably heard me say when I go live, you probably heard me say before, time is short. And it's like, we're at the point where, time is up, so, we're seeing, where we are now, we're seeing what is going to be. And that's the best way I could put it. So, again, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'm going to go ahead and end this live, and, just peace and abundance be to you all, and I love you all, and that's it. Thanks. Bye.